My name is Anne-Marie Williams. I'm the Executive Director here at the National Women's Commission. I'm the first Executive Director in a 35-year history of the organization. The Commission is geared toward promoting gender equality, equity, and women's empowerment. It's a strategic policy advisory body to government on these issues. We also monitor the implementation of the National Gender Policy, the revised gender policy, which was passed by Cabinet in 2013. We also monitor the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, which Belize signed in 1990. And we monitor also Belém do Pará. I'm the country expert here for the Belém do Pará Convention, newly named. Belize signed the convention 20 years ago on November 25th, which we just celebrated as the International Day to End Violence Against Women. So that's part of what I do here. Well, UNFPA is a very special organization to us. Whenever you think of organizations that seek to promote the rights of women and their health, you must think of an organization that is important. After all, we're half the world's population, right? The UNFPA has been a partner with the Commission for a number of years. We've done advocacy work, we've done work to enhance women's health. I remember about 4 years ago, Women's Month is celebrated in Belize in March every month. And we had the Women in Politics project, which was a project spearheaded and managed by the Commission to ensure that we try to raise a critical mass of women to stand for elections at all levels. Whenever we had the graduation, which is always in March, UNFPA would provide us with some funding and some expertise to have a graduation speaker, and at the same time we do a public forum as part of our activity jointly with UNFPA for Women's Month. So case in point, we brought Billy Miller, who was the former Deputy Prime Minister of Barbados, and she was also one of the ambassadors for UNFPA. So that evening we looked at women's health, and she was the guest speaker for our first graduation ceremony for the Women in Politics project. So that was a biggie for UNFPA. In October, I just recently concluded a weekend seminar with young people, the youth ambassadors for UNFPA, or the YAGIs. We've done peer-to-peer education with them. I did the portion on gender and women's rights, and we tied that into how it linked with the Sustainable Development Goals and how it's linked with ICPD. And so the young people got a first-hand information as to what role gender plays in their lives. What does it mean to be born female? As I said, it coordinated and it tied in with the International Day of the Girl Child, which was October 11. And so they were equipped with these types of information to go into schools, both primary schools and high schools, to educate their own peers as to the importance of the International Day of the Girl Child, why gender matters, why there's a space for young people who are different, young people who are of vulnerable populations. All these things were tied in. And so that's the kind of work we do with UNFPA, help them to advocate for particularly women and girls. A couple of weeks ago, I was actually the director of ceremonies for the Belize launch of the State of the World Population Report. And it was well attended. We brought people together from a wide cross-section, from government, from NGO, from community-based organization, and there were lots of young people there. As UNFPA, in the person of Tisa, who is the liaison officer, actually unveiled the report showing people exactly what is the state of the world's population in a time of plenty, yet in a time of disasters, in a time when people have very few, and in a time when we're trying to see how best we could achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. One thing that stuck out was that I reminded the gathering that of the 17 goals, Goal 5 was the goal that had us there, and Goal 5, which is gender equality and empowerment of women, happens to be the main driver of all the other goals. It's difficult to achieve the SDGs if you can't achieve Goal 5.